Which urban legend was eventually proven to be true? Story 1. Janitor Ghost. In high school, there was an urban legend about a janitor who quit after seeing bloody footprints in the hallway. One evening, while working on a class project, I accidentally dropped a heavy glass pane on my toe, creating a huge gash. Knowing the school's strict policies, I checked my surroundings before limping home. Our school had hallways framing a sunken library. As I made my way out, I left a trail of bloody footprints. The janitor, finishing his cleaning, turned the corner to find the eerie scene. He quit on the spot, convinced he had seen something supernatural. Little did he know, it was just me trying to avoid trouble. It's a top-tier story, and being the source of an urban legend is oddly satisfying. Story 2. Lake Monsters. Living near a lake with a hydroelectric dam, I grew up hearing tales of enormous lake monsters. Most people chalked it up to fishermen's tall tales. But then, divers conducted a routine inspection behind the dam after heavy flooding. One diver got too close to what he thought was a moss-covered boulder, only for it to move and try to latch onto his arm. It turned out there were 200-plus-pound catfish thriving in the waters behind the dam. The turbulent water made it easier for them to breathe and grow to enormous sizes, with no commercial fishing allowed in the area. These giant catfish became the basis for the lake monster legends. Story 3. Raven Rock. As kids, we were always curious about the mysteries hidden beyond the familiar paths. One such curiosity was sparked every time we drove up to the parking lot for the overlook at High Rock. The road continued into the woods, veering off into the unknown. My brother and I pestered our dad about where it led. With a knowing look, he told us about Raven Rock, a place where the road suddenly ended with armed guards emerging from the woods to stop you. It wasn't exactly a secret, but it held a chilling allure. Raven Rock was a nuclear bunker, capable of functioning as a remote Pentagon if the country was attacked. During the September 11th attacks, Vice President Cheney had been taken there, while President Bush was sent elsewhere. The place was off limits, and anyone who trespassed would be detained. A few years ago, while visiting family, I went back to High Rock. I was hanging out at the overlook when a truck full of teenagers pulled up. They asked if I knew what was up the access road. I warned them about Raven Rock and the consequences of venturing too far. Ignoring my advice, they decided to check it out. An hour later, as I was leaving, I noticed they hadn't returned. I figured they were probably getting a stern lecture from a soldier. Story 4. Black Volga. In the 1960s and 70s, a dark tale circulated in Poland about vampires driving black limousines, abducting people, especially children. It was a story that parents told to scare their kids, who would then pass it on, spreading the fear. As a child, I remember the terror these tales inspired, the way we would glance nervously at any black car. The truth, however, was even more chilling. It was later revealed that the Polish secret police were behind the rumor. They actually used black cars to kidnap people, ensuring that any witness would be dismissed as merely perpetuating the urban legend. It was a strategy designed to cloak their operations in disbelief, a dark twist on a child's nightmare. Story 5. The Freddy Krueger Legend. There's a small ethnic group in Southeast Asia called the Hmong. During the Vietnam War, they fought alongside the U.S. When the war ended, many were airlifted to the U.S. to escape persecution from the North Vietnamese. Among the refugees was a young, healthy man who suddenly died in his sleep. No cause was found, though it was suspected to be a heart attack. This incident sparked panic within the Hmong community. According to Hmong legend, a spirit would enter your dreams and kill you. In their new environment, without traditional protections, young Hmong men started dying from what came to be known as Hmong sleeping sickness. The fear was so intense that it caused fatal stress, leading to the deaths of 117 men. This phenomenon inspired the creation of Freddy Krueger, a fictional character who kills people in their dreams. The story of the Hmong men is a chilling reminder of how deeply cultural beliefs can impact physical health. Story 6. Bang parties. Growing up in a small rural hometown, there was a persistent rumor about the town's authority figures, cops, teachers, business owners, and other respected community members, engaging in massive bang parties. As kids, we dismissed it as wild imagination and gossip. But one year, the unthinkable happened. A teacher's husband brutally beat a local business owner in broad daylight. The truth came out. The so-called hot tub club was real, and many of the town's leaders were involved in these scandalous gatherings. It was shocking how long they had managed to keep it a secret. The fallout was immense, with trust in local leaders shattered. The scandal rocked our small town, leaving a lasting impact on our perception of those we once saw as role models. Story 7. Cropsey. On Staten Island during the 70s and 80s, children whispered about Cropsey, a boogeyman who supposedly kidnapped kids. It was a story meant to frighten, a cautionary tale to keep children from wandering off. But as the years passed, the legend took on a sinister life of its own. It turned out that there was a real kidnapper and serial murderer preying on the children of Staten Island. His name was Andre Rand, and he was eventually caught and convicted. The urban legend of Cropsey, once dismissed as mere folklore, had roots in a terrifying truth. A documentary titled Cropsey delves into the harrowing details, capturing the blend of myth and reality that haunted the community. Story 8. Family Tradition. When I was 15, an older couple frequently came into the store where I worked. They clearly had developmental and mental health issues, and the rumor was that they were siblings. Accompanying them were 2 teenage girls who people said were their children. Years later, I discovered the truth. Someone had called the state about them, and an investigation revealed that the parents were indeed the result of interfamilial relations. They had continued this disturbing family tradition, leading to their daughters being placed in state custody. The parents were deemed unfit to care for themselves, and the state took over their guardianship. The whole situation was both tragic and unsettling, a dark family secret brought to light. Story 9. The Tunnels. Beneath my town lay a network of abandoned tunnels, remnants of a self-sustaining mental institution that once covered several square miles. These tunnels were the stuff of local legend, often talked about but never explored. One summer during a drought, my friends and I decided to investigate. We found an old maintenance shack in the woods, its basement flooded. Returning later, we discovered that the water had receded, revealing a rusted door leading into the tunnels. We ventured inside, finding nothing special, no escaped patients, just the eerie, empty corridors of a forgotten past. It was a glimpse into the town's history, a tangible connection to the stories we'd grown up hearing. Story 10. The Shoe Licker. This urban legend was thankfully more light-hearted than most. I'd heard whispers about a near-mythical figure in Tampa, a man who licked shoes. Supposedly, he would approach people in public, ask about their shoes, and then, with bewildering boldness, drop to the ground to lick the soles before the person could react. It seemed too bizarre to be true. Then one day, while waiting for what would turn out to be the best taco of my life from a taco truck, I encountered him. He was a skinny, long-haired guy, probably homeless, and his age was indeterminate, anywhere from 18 to 30. He approached me and asked about my Doc Martens. Still in my stage outfit, I was taken aback but curious. He asked to see the treads, and in my confusion, I agreed. The next moment, he was on the ground, licking my boot. I yelled at him, kicking out reflexively, and he scampered off. It was the weirdest interaction I'd ever had. I told my friends, who were equally incredulous, and soon the story spread. It was the kind of tale that made for great conversation, the strange but true urban legend of the Tampa shoe licker. Though, on a creepier note, it was probably a fetish thing for him, adding an unfortunate layer of weirdness to the encounter. Story 11. High Rock. As a child, I loved when my dad would take my brother and me to High Rock, a scenic overlook where we could play on the rocks and enjoy the view. It was a place of fun and freedom, but also tinged with a somber memory. There was a story about a girl who had died in a hang gliding accident there. Even as kids, the story gave us pause. It was a reminder of the dangers hidden within the beauty of the place. High Rock was our playground, but also a silent tribute to a life lost too soon. The tale of the girl stayed with me, a blend of joy and caution in our childhood adventures. Story 12. The Murderer Clown. In my childhood neighborhood, there was a terrifying legend about a murderer clown. He was often seen near the elementary school grounds, a vast field with soccer areas and a hill. One day, as a kid, I saw him swinging on a swing at the top of the hill. My friends and I stared at him until he got off the swing and started running toward us, prompting us to flee in terror. Another day, I noticed a line of cop cars parked on the gravel road leading up to the field, and we assumed the clown had been arrested. There was no evidence of actual murders, but the creepy clown, who likely had a sinister interest in children, was dealt with, bringing relief to the neighborhood. Story 13. The Village. For the last several years in Toronto, a chilling shadow had loomed over the gay community in the village. Men were vanishing, one after another, leaving the community in a state of terror and suspicion. It became a whispered certainty among us that a serial murderer was on the loose. Yet, the police dismissed our fears, insisting that the disappearances were unrelated, but we knew better. The eerie pattern, the mounting dread, it all pointed to something sinister. And we were right. It turned out that a man, working as a groundskeeper and landscaper, was targeting gay men. He would lure them, end their lives, dismember their bodies, and then bury the remains around the properties where he worked. The truth, when it finally came to light, was even more horrifying than the legend. Story 14. The Beast from the East. In my town, there was a legend about a monster on the east side that preyed on children and pets. Known as the Beast from the East, the creature was blamed for the disappearance of a child, multiple pets, and even a mangled deer found on abandoned train tracks. Many believed coyotes, lynxes, or wolverines were responsible, following deer into town and picking off easy prey. However, a few years ago, a trapper caught a mountain lion, an animal thought to be extinct in eastern Canada. This discovery proved the legend true. The elusive big cat had been terrorizing our town, even though authorities had always dismissed our fears. Story 15. The Treehouse. In the dense woods of Washington, there was a persistent rumor about a fairy house, a whimsical treehouse hidden among the trees. One park ranger, driven by curiosity, decided to hunt for it. What he found was far from magical. Inside the treehouse, he discovered a trove of illicit child content. Horrified, he dismantled it and reported his findings. However, when he returned sometime later, the treehouse had been rebuilt. This time, authorities intervened and tracked down the person responsible. The man was arrested, but the discovery shattered the enchanting image of the fairy house, revealing a dark reality behind the innocent legend. Story 16. The University Tunnels. I attended a university near Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, a place steeped in history. The campus had once been a POW camp and a military hospital before the college bought it for a mere $1 in the 1960s. There were rumors about abandoned tunnels and relics from the past hidden beneath our feet. Most of us dismissed it as campus lore until curiosity got the better of us. In our dorm room, my friends and I discovered a hatch under the carpet. It led to a sprawling network of tunnels, untouched since 1945. As we explored, we found ourselves in a time capsule. There were jeeps with dry, rotted tires, parked in an underground garage beneath our soccer field. The tunnels connected every building on campus, from the cafeteria to the admin building, and to an old, abandoned section of the hospital. When we finally emerged in the hospital, it was like stepping into a bygone era. Hospital beds, surgical curtains, and even medical tools lay as they had been left. The morgue still had its slabs. We dared each other to lie on them, feeling the weight of history and our own audacity. What started as a legend turned into a fascinating and eerie adventure, one that satisfied my inner child's dream of secret passages and hidden treasures. Story 17. Welcome to the world of AIDS. There was an urban legend circulating about a man who met a woman at a bar. After a night together, he would wake up to find her gone, and the chilling message, "Welcome to the world of AIDS," written on his bathroom mirror. This tale served as a cautionary parable about the risks of casual encounters, widely dismissed as pure fiction. However, the grim reality emerged with cases of stealth pausing, where individuals knowingly transmitted HIV to their partners. One notorious case involved Daryl Rowe, a British man who, aware of his HIV status, sent taunting texts to his victims after their encounters, saying things like, "I have HIV, LOL, oops," and "I'm riddled." Other individuals have also been convicted for similar acts, making the legend a frightening reality. Story 18. In the Small Town. In the small town I'm from, there was a homeless man known as Sweet Pea. Technically, he lived with his mother, but spent most of his time wandering the town. He was a big guy, developmentally disabled, and totally harmless. However, kids would say, "Better watch it or Sweet Pea will get you." Sweet Pea had a peculiar habit. He would go around to all the gas stations at night and collect the little last bits of oil from the discarded cans. People joked that he was secretly rich from selling the oil. When his mother passed away and her house was cleared out, they discovered 10 55-gallon drums of oil in the garage. It turns out he had indeed been selling the oil, and that's how they survived financially. It's a bittersweet story. While it's unfortunate that Sweet Pea had to live this way, it's heartening to know he found a way to support himself and his mother. Story 19, The Elementary School Dungeon. I went to school in a well-to-do area, so there weren't any serious problems like murders or assaults. However, one story from elementary school stands out. Rumors circulated that our school had a basement under the gym floor containing torture equipment, racks, whips, chains, and the like. The school and parents vehemently denied this, insisting that our single-story school, built in the 1920s, couldn't possibly have a basement. But kids were skeptical. The gym floor sounded hollow when jumped on. In 5th grade, a kid snuck into the gym with a disposable camera during lunch. A week later, he came back with developed photos. Despite being blurry and grainy, the images were clear enough to show a basement under the gym floor. There was a door in the gym storage room leading to a boiler room, and inside the boiler room was a staircase to the basement. The photos seemed to confirm the existence of torture equipment, whips, chains, racks, and more. The kids' parents brought the photos to the school staff, demanding answers. The staff investigated and eventually held an assembly in the gym to address the photos, which by then everyone had seen or heard about. The staff explained that the basement was storage from when the building used to be the city's high school for over 40 years. The alleged torture equipment was actually old weight benches and equestrian gear from when the school had a successful equestrian team. They even showed us some of the items from the basement. The rumors were put to rest, but the legend of the elementary school dungeon cemented itself in school history. The kid who took those photos had incredible courage, definitely a future journalist, if they aren't one already. Story 20. The Dog Thief. In the 1970s, my eccentric aunt and uncle lived in Manhattan. When their German Shepherd died, they decided to save money by transporting the dog's body to animal control in the Bronx themselves. They folded the 50-pound dog into a suitcase and set off. At a crosswalk, they set the suitcase down and a couple of kids ran by and snatched it. My uncle, an obese alcoholic, gave chase but soon lost them in the summer heat of New York. For years, they speculated about what those kids must have thought when they opened the suitcase. It's likely their misadventure was the origin of the urban legend about a thief stealing a suitcase containing a dead dog. It's hard to imagine such a bizarre event happening more than once. Story 21. Asylum Lake Tunnels. In Kalamazoo, there was a small lake and wildlife area just off the WMU campus. For years, rumors circulated about hidden tunnels beneath the area. One day, a group of us decided to explore. We found a partially buried set of stairs leading to a walled-up tunnel entrance. Using hand tools, we managed to break through part of the wall and discovered the tunnels were fully intact, though damp and murky. Word got out, and the authorities soon sealed the entrance again. However, if you knew where to look, it was still obvious where the hidden entrance lay. It was a thrilling adventure, proving that some legends are grounded in reality. Story 22. Little Girl. My girlfriend grew up in a small village in Italy, where her father used to tell her stories about spies who infiltrated the village during World War II to kidnap naughty girls who didn't go to sleep. She always thought these were just scary tales until she learned the truth. During the war, spies had indeed kidnapped a girl and executed her by the river. The girl was the daughter of a politician, staying in the village for safety with her grandmother and mother. The identities and motives of the kidnappers remained a mystery, but the story was real and far more terrifying than any bedtime tale.